The Monday, June 9th, 2025 meeting of the Marquette City Commission is now called to order at 6 p.m. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Deputy City Clerk, may I have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner Gottlieb? Here. Commissioner Larson?
Here.
Commissioner Mayer? Commissioner Ottaway?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schlegel?
Here.
And Mayor Hanley.
Here. Commissioners, do I have a motion on Commissioner Mayer's absence? Pro Tem Schlegel?
I'd make the motion to excuse Commissioner Mayer for personal reasons.
A second? Commissioner Larson?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. This brings us to our approval of the agenda. Commissioners, we have an agenda in front of us. Do we have a motion? Commissioner Davis.
I move to approve the agenda with an amendment to move item number 6 to after the comments from the city manager.
Okay, do we have a second? Commissioner Gottlieb?
Second.
Any discussion?
It looks like we'll be going into closed session, so that way the public does not have to sit here while we are in closed session and can finish up what they want to.
Thank you. Any other? All in favor? Please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. I have no announcements for this evening, so that brings us to boards and committees. We have one reappointment tonight. Commissioners, do I have a motion on the appointment? Reappointment. Commissioner Ottaway?
I move to reappoint Amy Manning to the Marquette County Solid Waste Management Authority for a term ending 7/1/2028.
A second? Pro Tem Schlegel?
I second the motion.
Any discussion?
Thank you for continuing to serve.
Any other discussion?
Yeah, Amy does an amazing job on that, in that role with the Solid Waste Management Authority. And I'm really happy to see her come back. So keep it up with the good work, Amy.
All right. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 6-0. This brings us to our first public comment portion of the evening. Public comment may not exceed 3 minutes per person. Please state your name and physical address when you're addressing the commission. And also, I do want to remind everyone that our time for responding to your comments is at the end of the meeting. Do we have anyone for public comment?
Hi, Matt Ludenberger, 1406 Marquette, Michigan.
1406 what now?
Sorry, Garfield. Thank you. So that's my address, but I live at the corner of Garfield and Fair. So Fair Ave goes straight through the college and all the way down to my work at Lakeview Arena. One road, and yet I can't drive that one road. My question tonight is, now that all the fences are down, now that the grass is in place at the old hospital, is College Ave going to be opened up? Because it might sound like a small thing, but I've got to drive 2 blocks away from Fair Ave to come 2 blocks back to Fair Ave to go to work. It's a simple thing, but now that we've done all of that construction, what is the outline? What is the timeline for that being back open to the public? I agree they might not have a building permit yet or an understanding of what's going to go in there, but can we still use the road? It looks like they took care of protecting it, at least enough for us to drive down it. I say that though because I also wonder about Lakeshore Drive. Down here at Cliffstow, we've got all that construction going on with all the rock piles. When is that going to be open to the public? And I agree, this is going to be an answer way out in the future, and I accept whatever delays there might be from federal government funding or state government funding, whatever we've got to worry about. I'm curious though, as a public, it's summertime, are we going to be able to use that beach by October? and I don't mean it as like hanging out and doing kayak tours, but can we walk along the old road at any point? Like, I don't want to go swimming. I want to go and actually stroll with the pups and do that whole thing. So again, these are all things, it's not a important matter, but it's one that I would love to see signs up saying this is what we expect at this point in time. I say that also with 510 and where we've got our new industrial park. Again, what are we expecting and what's it going to look like? That's all I'm asking for. I don't want to stop something. I don't want to encourage something. I just want to know. And the only way to know is to drive by with a billboard that says, hey, here you go. This is what we expect. Now, thank you for listening. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. It's summertime. Let's wrap this up quickly. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment?
Margaret Brum, 404 East Magnetic Street. The first time I speak tonight, it'll all be about good things that people have done, and then there'll be the second public comment. Kudos to a gal I went to Parkview Elementary School with, Kathy Rupert, used to be Kathy Steinbrenner. She lives out in the township. She has a horse and a pony and a dog, and has been working very, very hard with the state, specifically with Michigan State, to get what's called an E-rail trailer up here. So that in the event, unfortunately, if an animal, large animal is being transported, there is a trailer with trained people with equipment. And I can't even count on all the fingers and toes of the people in this room, the number of people she's contacted and the number of times she was told no. But as of last week, there is now a trailer in the Upper Peninsula. It is located at Forsyth Township Fire Department. And she is not in charge of it, but obviously it's here. And I was going to ask Chief Grimm if he would maybe reach out to the people there and maybe appoint a liaison officer just to be in touch with that. Because you never know when a truck's going to go over at the Walmart roundabout and have 3 or 4 dozen large animals in it. I mean, I saw a video this afternoon of a zebra being carried by a helicopter. I don't think the Coast Guard's going to come up here with a helicopter, but I do know he'll get the first call. So kudos to Kathy Rupert. We go back a long way. Secondly, kudos to our city manager, Karen Kovacs, who went above and beyond the call of duty after I pestered her and pestered her and pestered her and did everything but tug on her blouse. She joined me and several of my friends in a boots on the ground walk around Presque Isle. And I'm not saying we were there to take pictures and to put things in. She was literally on her hands and knees, head down into a culvert, looking to see if the road was blocked or not. And we know that because she dropped her keys and fortunately got them up. Not only that, she represented the city tremendously in that we found a nice young group of people with a puppy dog on a leash going around the island on Sunday. And I might have handled it differently. There might have been words said. I might have possibly thrown a shoe. She walked up to them and started off by saying how cool their dog was. And by the time they were done, they were apologizing profusely because, quote, they didn't see the signs. But we are lucky in this town to have a city manager who, when somebody pesters and pesters and pesters, instead of shoving them aside, says, okay, I'll meet you at the island. And she did, and came back with a whole bunch of challenges and chores, and which I'll talk about at the second public comment. But we're really lucky to have her. Also, if any of you would like to come on a walk around the island and stick your head in the same culvert, I would be happy to serve as your guide. You just have to know where it is to know where to stick your head in. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have anyone else for public comment this evening? Okay, seeing none, public comment is closed. We have one presentation tonight, the Board of Zoning Appeals by Chair Heather Dombrowski. Thank you, Heather.
Hello, as introduced, I'm Heather Dombrowski. I am the current Board of Zoning Appeals Chair yet again for the City of Marquette, which we'll get to a little bit more to in the presentation a little bit later on. So let's go over, we're revisiting last year, so sometimes it's a little confusing because it's been a while. So we have a lot of people who are serving extra terms, but I have to commend everybody who is on the BZA because everybody serves and packets are read, questions are asked, and it's all a really great group of very dedicated people. We could just use more. So we recently got somebody new, Miss Klein, so we're happy to have somebody new on the board there. But we still have a lot of people serving past their terms and other vacancies on there. So one thing that we like to talk about a lot. But so again, we're going back to 2024. There were 12 scheduled meetings and 7 were canceled due to no requests. So that's a development from the Land Development Code coming into effect, and our planning office really working with individuals to make sure that what they're building is within requirements. So I give a lot of accolades to both the Planning Commission and the Planning Department for that number of meetings. And we didn't have any special meetings last year. Our meetings are always held the first Thursday of the month. Every once in a while there's a little bit of a change on that. There were 4 excused absences, but we always had a quorum, and there was 1 unexcused absence in 2024. And then the background of the BZA, it's per the Michigan and Zoning Enabling Act of 2006. A zoning ordinance shall create a zoning board of appeals, further defined by section 54.1304 of the City of Marquette Land Development Code, establishes the BZA. So, and our responsibilities are the official interpretations of the Land Development Code text and map, appeals of administrative orders, requirements, decisions, and determinations, any variances from the Land Development Code, and designated Class A non-conforming uses or structures. So a lot of what we have are variances. So, somebody going outside of the normal building code. And then we also had, I guess this is 2024. It's hard to remember because it's like 6 months ago, but yeah, there were some administrative reviews and appeals of administrative decisions. So that comes to us occasionally too. So I know we had a couple Class A's this last year too. But our biggest goals are filling the vacancies. And I think we have, again, very dedicated people on the commission who are doing a great job doing it, but we could use some more people there. So any help with that would be great. And again, I can't commend the staff enough. All of our packets are completely well vetted out, and we are very, very well educated prior to coming to the meeting, as are the people who are applying. So it's a really nice board to serve on. So that's something that we've talked about before is maybe city manager's office, somebody could go around to some of these service clubs talking to people about the importance of serving on boards and just trying to find other people that could serve. And the same with NMU, any of those other kind of outlets, anybody who's going to school for these kind of things too. So, and a stipend might help. There's times we're driving around for cases quite a bit, and sometimes the packets are quite large, and it's a little bit different than some of the other commissions and committees in the city. So, yeah, but that's all I had.
Commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? Pro Tem Schlegel?
Sure. Thank you, Heather. I think I probably echoed this last time you were up, but I really do appreciate the work that you guys put together. It's very specialized, and to hear you say that the people are doing their homework really is obviously the key to making sure that those are executed in the fashion that they should. So thanks for bringing that up and tooting your horn a little bit, because that's very much the case. That should be held to that kind of standard. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Larson?
Thanks for serving again.
Okay.
And again.
Still.
It's an important board. It's required by the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. I certainly support figuring out some way to encourage additional folks to serve on that board. And, whether that be by stipend or otherwise, I think that's something that, our commission needs to kind of think about. Especially now that with the updated land development code, you have 7 of 12 canceled.
Yes. Yeah.
7 of 12 canceled. I mean, that's
That's pretty good.
That's
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
pretty
big
easy.
deal.
Yeah.
However, I have served on that board in the past, and, it certainly can be a lot of work, making sure that, you are following the land development code, walking through each of those items, and making sure that your interpretation is fair, both to the city and to the applicant, whether or not there's that hardship or not. So certainly appreciate you doing that, and, I would encourage my fellow commissioners to think about, ways that we can help vacancies on the board, considering that it is a requirement,
Yes, yes.
for the city to have this board. So I would strongly support a stipend if possible.
Commissioner Ottaway?
Heather, thank you for serving for so long. I mean, it's pretty funny. I talk about this all the time with the BZA, and as you know this, and Michael knows, and probably Paul knows as well. You see people on the BZA that have been there like a lifetime, and Michael and I served on the BZA a while ago, and Heather was there before us.
Yes.
So it's pretty amazing to see that you're still committed to it and doing everything you need to do, because it's very important. One of the things you brought up that I thought was extremely interesting and kind of gets me thinking is I like the idea of going the route of maybe finding an NMU student. I think it's a very, very interesting way to get somebody to understand a different side of government, especially somebody that may be interested in political science or that's studying government at Northern. I think that would be a great location for us to kind of search for a member and bring someone new to that group. That group is usually filled with a lot of people who are specialized in trades and a lot of people that are just retirees looking for something to do. It'd be nice to have somebody that was a student that was trying to learn something about government, or maybe someone that's in the planning department. So thanks for bringing that up. I think that's something I'll try to discuss with some of the folks here more, but thank you for all you do.
Any other comments? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, this brings us to our consent agenda. Commissioners, do we have a motion on consent? Commissioner Ottaway?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Commissioner Gottlieb? Any discussion? All right, with that, it's a roll call vote. So Deputy City Clerk, may I please have the roll call?
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Gottlieb,
Yes.
Commissioner Larson,
Yes.
Commissioner Ottaway,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schlegel,
Yes.
and Mayor Hanley.
Yes. Motion passes 6-0. This brings us to our first new business item of the evening. Commissioner Davis's travel reimbursement. Deputy City Clerk, can you please read the background?
Commissioner Davis attended the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities initiative held in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, May 13th through the 16th, 2025. The following check will be issued for travel expenses incurred. Commissioner Sally Davis, check number 8147A for $657. Fiscal effect, total travel cost is $657. Adequate funds are available within the fiscal year 2025 City Commission travel budget. Recommendation, approve travel reimbursement for Commissioner Davis in the amount of $657 for the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative. Alternatives as determined by the Commission.
Thank you. Commissioners, do I have a motion? Commissioner Larson?
I move that we approve the travel reimbursement for Commissioner Davis in the amount of $657 for the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative.
Do I have a second? Commissioner Gottlieb?
Second.
Any discussion?
Only that I appreciate Commissioner Davis bringing back her insights from the initiative down there, because they're certainly key at keeping Marquette in the forefront of policy and whatnot that's connected to the Great Lakes.
Commissioner Gottlieb?
Clearly, she attended the entire thing, given how detailed her notes were, and very appreciative.
I fully agree. Commissioner Davis?
Commissioner Gottlieb, I really appreciate that you've read all of those notes. I'm going to recuse myself from this vote for obvious reasons, but I just wanted to mention a little bit about the conference for the public. You know, the conference was entitled The Future of Fresh Water, and it focused on preserving the integrity and purity of the Great Lakes region and promoting economic development. It's a program, it's a organization of city mayors mostly and their representatives, and at that conference, they adopted a strategic plan that set actions for industry, transportation, energy, and waterfronts. Resolutions were adopted that touched on the Great Lakes water quality, upholding the Great Lakes Compact. And if you don't know what that is, I really encourage you to go find out what the Great Lakes Compact is. Managing microplastics, protecting dynamic shorelines, the U.S. and Canadian trade war, and others. And just a side note, the trade between Canada and the U.S. is the third largest in the world. So it's really important. The conference was sponsored by the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative. It's a nonprofit organization comprised of the 8 U.S. states, 2 Canadian provinces, and some of the tribal nations within the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence region. You know, it's just really wonderful to be in the same room as our northern neighbors and working on issues that we care about together. And so I'm really appreciate that our city was part of that. We were the only city in the UP, and the UP really represents the majority of the South Shore of Lake Superior. So I hope that we can continue to be part of that organization.
Thank you. Any other comments, commissioners? With that, we'll bring it to a vote. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, please say no. Any abstentions? Motion passes 5-0. This brings us to item number 5, the Superior Watershed Partnership's 25th Anniversary Proclamation. Deputy City Clerk, as there's no background, could you please read the proclamation?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Whereas the Superior Watershed Partnership, SWP, was founded as a Great Lakes nonprofit organization with a mission to protect and improve the natural resources of Michigan's Upper Peninsula through science-based solutions and community engagement, and whereas over the past 25 years, the SWP has become a national leader in innovative environmental programs, including climate adaptation, native species restoration, green infrastructure, and pollution prevention, and has set national records for pollution prevention and implements innovative science-based programs that achieves documented, measurable results. And whereas the City of Marquette has been a proud and longstanding partner of the Superior Watershed Partnership, working together to enhance Lake Superior shoreline protection, support renewable energy projects, improve stormwater infrastructure, promote environmental education and stewardship, and recreate city shorelines. And whereas through collaborative projects such as beach monitoring, invasive species mitigation, and sustainability planning, the SWP has directly improved the quality of life and environmental health for Marquette residents. And whereas the SWP's commitment to local workforce development, including the Great Lakes Conservation Corps and youth employment opportunities, has benefited the region's economic and environmental resilience. And whereas the City of Marquette recognizes the essential role that environmental organizations like the SWP play in protecting public health, fostering a sustainable future, and strengthening our community through science and service. And whereas the City of Marquette acknowledges and commends the scope and breadth of the millions of dollars of grant funding secured through the partnership between the SWP and the city, funding that would not have otherwise been possible. And now, therefore, the Mayor and the City Commission of the City of Marquette do hereby recognize and celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Superior Watershed Partnership, commend its accomplishments and leadership, and express gratitude for the continued partnership and positive impact on the City of Marquette and its residents.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have a motion?
I will.
Commissioner Davis?
I move that we approve the proclamation and authorize the mayor to sign.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Commissioner Ottaway?
Second.
Commissioner Davis, any comment?
Yes, I just want to congratulate the partnership on their 25 years and give a shout out to Carl Lindquist. You know, he was the lone employee, or maybe there were 2 back 25 years ago, and you now have how many employees? 19 full-time and 30 40 seasonal. Okay, so like around 40 full and part-time employees in 3 different locations. I have watched this organization grow for the 25 years, actually for 24 years, because on September 11th, 24 years ago, and you might remember where you were on 9/11, I happened to be at a grant writing workshop in the basement of the Peter White Library, and Carl was part of that workshop. And so we shared that moment together, and that's when I learned about what he had intended to do. And so I've watched this organization grow over the years, and I'm pretty impressed with what they've been able to accomplish and what the impact that they've had for us in our community. So congratulations, and I'm glad you're here to hear the proclamation.
Commissioner Ottaway, any comment?
I can't follow that.
Any other commissioners? All right, I am going to try to follow it a little bit. I do want to touch on, a lot of people might not know exactly what the Superior Watershed Partnership does, but they do play a vital role in enhancing the environmental and community well-being of Marquette. They secure millions of dollars in state, federal, and private grant funding. They've spearheaded numerous projects, including the Coastal Restoration Project along Lakeshore Boulevard, green infrastructure improvements, and native tree planting initiatives. Their efforts also extend to climate adaptation, pollution prevention, and community engagement. They help make Marquette a model Great Lakes city. SWP's commitment to sustainability and resilience continues to shape the region's environmental future. They've completed several impactful projects here in Marquette, and some of the notable ones, the coastal restoration along Lakeshore Boulevard, which is a mile-long restoration project funded by the National Fish and Wildlife Coastal Resiliency Grant, which was $2.5 million. The U.S. Maritime Administration Port Infrastructure Development Program, which led to improvements at port facilities at Presque Isle Upper Harbor, and the LS&I Railroad ORDOC, which was $1.6 million. Electric vehicle charging stations. They helped to install 2 high-speed EV chargers in Marquette, funded by the Eagle Charge Up Michigan grant, which was for $168,405. The Cultural Center and Trailhead Project, which was supported by the DNR Spark Grant for $458,000 and the MEDC RAMP Grant for $583,000. And the Cultural Trail Project, which was supported by the National Endowment for the Arts at $100,000. This is just a bit of what SWP has done for our community, but I really felt it was important to note all of the work that you do in conjunction with the city and the different stuff to help make Marquette a better place to live. So I really do want to thank you for that. With that, I will bring us to a vote. All in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, please say no. The motion passes 6-0. And I'd like to invite Tyler Penrod from the Superior Watershed Partnership up to accept the proclamation. Thank you so much for all you guys have done.
Make sure this is up right.
Oh, they want to. We're so famous. Do you want to say something? Sure. Okay, here, you can grab this mic right here and feel free to say whatever you want. Well, within reason. Good job.
All right, so that proclamation covered a lot of ground, so I'll keep things short. I really just want to express gratitude for the city commission and our city staff who have partnered with us for, the last 25 years on a wide variety of projects, but just really grateful to have a commission that supports the mission of the Superior Watershed Partnership, and we're glad to collaborate, whether it's seeking out funding or implementing projects down the road. This is a really valuable partnership that we'd like to maintain, so thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Tyler. All right, this brings us to our second public comment session of the evening. Public comments may not exceed 3 minutes per person, so please clearly state your name and physical address if you haven't already done so.
For those of you who don't know who I am, ask your buddy. One thing left out, and I would say this in front of Tyler, and I would say it in front of everyone. I have been in partnership with the Superior Watershed Partnership for the better part of 4.5 years, because when I brought to them the crazy idea that Marquette should have a cigarette butt recycling program that was supported by the city with cigarette recycling tubes, they pointed out that if they got the account with the recycle place, that they could use my hours spent and the amount of cigarette butts recycled as part of their grant programs and make use of it. Now, many organizations in this town, when I show up, lock the door. The Superior Watershed Partnership said, go ahead, do it, and have been supporting ever since. They give me the labels and we do the rest. And before you say it's a little thing, I lost count. We did 100 cigarette butts in one walk around the island, and that's a no smoking zone. And there were 3 spots I stopped yesterday afternoon, and every place I filled up my sieve again. So again, I appreciate the huge projects they do, but they're also open to suggestions from anybody in this town who's got a better idea of how we can make this, be stewards of the land. That's the phrase I was looking for, be stewards. And you don't have to have credentials, and you don't have to know the right people, though I do. But you just have to have an idea and be willing to I've just been incredibly impressed with these people, and as you know, I'm kind of a tough sell on that, so thank you very much for your support. And now to the second part of this discussion. We need a big sign at the island, because when the city manager approached the 2 guys who were walking a dog, they honestly did not know there were no dogs allowed. We have a problem on the island. It is ripe for a wildfire. If you went to the DNR presentations on wildfire, if you watched on your phone, we've had more days of wildfire danger in the last 3 weeks than I can remember in the last 3 months. And by wildfire danger, I mean no burning, no open burning. And our dear friends at Marquette One Wheel are very happy. They just got a permit to have an event out at the island, but they were very disturbed to learn that they couldn't bring their own grills. And I'm sitting there going, no grills. They don't know. It's not a question of people don't want to do it. They honestly don't know. And I've called around, and I don't want to be in the business of getting signs, but we can afford this, okay? We can afford to get a sign. We can afford to get it, and then we can change the message. When it's no wildfire day, it's like no fires at all. And when it's a regular day, it's like no dogs and no stupidity. And I'd say that because sometimes when I write out all the things that people we've seen do, it's like no stupidity. And this, maybe we need to rename it as a wildlife sanctuary. Maybe then they'd get the idea. So please consider that in your budget circumstances. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment?
Barb Outside, 1324 North Front. Speaking of fires, you may have hashed this out already. I've missed a few meetings, but second week in May, there was the fire on East K. I used to own that duplex, so I sort of had a vested interest in that, but I still live on the block. The reason why I'm here is because the neighbor that lives at 1308, Christopher Murdoch, I want to put this on the record, he was the guy that was out that day in his yard, saw the fire, ran over to the house, called 911, knocked on the back door, got the woman came out. The fire department, of course, was there quickly. It was one of the, I don't need to rehash this. Well, maybe I will. Really warm, very windy day. It's the kind of thing that it literally could have taken the block or several blocks down if that fire hadn't been put out as quickly as it was. You insulated that place, I believe. So anyway, I wanted to just put it on the record. Christopher Murdoch, 1308 North Front. Thankfully, the fire department is close, and it was out quickly. But, I think he should be acknowledged, that's all, if you haven't done it already. Thanks.
Thank you, Barb. Anyone else for public comment?
Matt Ludberger, 1406 Garfield Ave, City of Marquette. I had to run out and get a sandwich. I'm sorry. So I'm here, though, to ask about Lakeview Arena. And I know there's been a couple discussions that have been going on and keep them going. I'm not here to stop anything. I'm not here to encourage anything. I am going to acknowledge, though, that there are certain fundamental things that need to be fixed before any transfer of whatever. To be clear, I would love to see a new management come in and run Lakeview Arena. If that means they run it as a nonprofit, if that means they run it as a recreation facility, if that means you guys run it and you just pay somebody to take care of it, somebody needs to fix the parking lot potholes. We had a whole Kiwanis Club come through today or yesterday. That was probably 300 people easily, or vehicles easily. There's a lot of serious foundationals there. And I say that simply because I want somebody to acknowledge that maybe ownership isn't the best way to go for a facility that can be used by more than just the skating community. We have the ability to have concerts there. We've had those concerts there. I get it. We can do that again. But how come the Parks and Rec department is the only one in charge of it? How come the Arts and Culture department, how come the Blues Fest isn't working there? How come we can shut down 3rd Street, but we can't put a single open mic night on Lakeview Arena? These are things that you as a city, technically by the books, have the ability to do, but you choose not to. And if it takes somebody else to come in and run it and manage it and figure out when to put in the ice capades or when to have a roller skating rink or when to have roller hockey, let somebody else do it. But maybe that's not ownership. So in that sense, to everybody that's trying to make something better at Lakeview Arena, we have the No Cayman Trail Network as a trailhead there, but yet there's no activity from the No Cayman Trail Network at Lakeview Arena besides their once a year bike race. How come? Again, I don't know. I don't want to know. I just want them to fix it. We have the YMCA. We have 906 Adventure Center right down the street. All of those things could be used as Lakeview as a trailhead or as a center point, as a parking lot. All I'm asking is that we have the ability, you, the city, are the only ones that can actually make it happen. Please do. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. Anyone else for public comment today? Ooh, didn't get enough.
No, I was just up there, but I'd be remiss if I didn't invite the commission and city staff to our 25th anniversary event.
I need you to state your name and physical address for this.
Got it. My name's Tyler Penrod. I live at East 5610 Autrain River Boulevard. We are celebrating our 25th anniversary on Friday, June 20th, starting at 6 o'clock. It'll be a great event with tasty food, great drinks, some local music, as well as performance from the Teal Lake Singers. We'll have different speakers throughout and auction items. It'll be a fun event. So you're all welcome to join us there, and we have tickets online. I also wanted to mention, since it was brought up earlier in public comment with the concern around wildfires, it is a growing issue in the Upper Peninsula as we experience climate change. And our staff has been working to prioritize potential hotspots around the entire Upper Peninsula, but we've done more in-depth work in Marquette County, including the city of Marquette. So we have funding available to help address concerns around wildfire, including clearing out brush and hazardous trees from residential properties as well as city and municipal properties. So we'd be more than happy to work with the city, continue working with the city to address potential hazards like wildfire. So thank you.
Tyler. Anyone else for public comment today? All right, seeing none, public comment is now closed, which brings us to comments from the commission. I'm going to start today with Commissioner Davis.
First of all, Ms. Ozite, thank you for bringing to our attention our local citizen who identified that fire and got the person out to safety. I really appreciate that. It's something I was unaware of. Secondly, I want to send out some congratulations to our employee Annie McGilliga for being selected for the Making Democracy Work Award by our local chapter of the League of Women Voters. Annie just completed an internship with the city, and she just graduated from NMU, and now she's a full-time employee with us, and we're very happy to have her. So Annie received this award for her work in organizing our Citizens Academy, and she's done a great job with that. We have several of our local League of Women Voter members participate in the academy, and I think that they recognize the work that she put into it. I really appreciate their interest in our governance. So that's it.
Excuse me. I'd like to thank the city manager and the entire city staff with a special shout out to Nicole at the DPW for the efforts they made and are making in working with waste management towards resolving the issues we are or have had, we the residents of Marquette, with our garbage pickup. And hopefully we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel, but I really do want to thank Karen and Nicole especially for the work they've done on that.
Thank you. Commissioner Larson?
No comments tonight.
Pro Tem Schlegel?
I'm going to jump on that bandwagon, Commissioner Gottlieb. I was really pleasantly surprised to hear how gently you put waste management into the radio interview this morning, and you were very kind. Let me put it that way. After receiving as many phone calls as I did, or emails and messages, it was really a frustrating week in regards to that, and it's been a little bit, it's not. It's a service that we offer. It's a service that we pay for, and we need to be. We deserve better, and I'm glad that was brought up and spoken with publicly this morning. So thank you, City Manager, for doing that. Other than that, that's really all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner Hathaway?
I could echo the comments about waste management, but I'm not going to, because why continue? But I will echo the thank yous, because it just seems like the right thing to do. First, I want to thank the entire staff. I went to the bike rodeo that was put on with my youngest, and we had an amazing turnout at that. And most of those people, almost all of them, are sitting up here right now that helped put that on. And I believe, who was it, Eric Papor, that organized that? So unbelievable turnout, unbelievable. Kids were amazed by it. Barb is sitting here. She was one of the volunteers. It was awesome to see her. So many people that are a part of our community volunteered for that, and it was just great to see. Another shout out to Police Chief Ryan Grimm. I sent him a text message this morning at, I don't know, it was like 8:30 in the morning, 8:39. South Marquette, we were, awoken by a loud bang, which I thought was a gunshot because it sure sounded like it. And my neighbors all felt similarly, apparently. I texted Chief Grimm and got a response, and almost immediately there were police cars circling the neighborhood, only to find out that it was most likely just a junction box or transformer. But it was awesome to see that they were able to respond with calls from the community and my text within probably 30 seconds. They had someone there. So kind of bouncing off of what Barb had said earlier, how fast response we have in the community. I also want to make mention of some of the things Margaret had to say. I think you're doing awesome pointing out some of the things with the island and the forest fire stuff. I think, as I've sat here and I've thought about some of the things you've said and really go back to thinking about comments I believe Commissioner Stonehouse used to say, maybe it's time we do something even as simple as getting some sort of ranger on the island or some sort of ranger station, something that we can use to notify people. Even if that's a temporary position we offer, I think it is beyond time to have more of a presence there. And I think we need to really look at ways to do that either electronically or via in person, not just from a forest fire standpoint, but because of also a forest fire standpoint. So I think we need to take safety to the next level there if we can and really start thinking about those ideas. I've said enough, but I would really appreciate if the city manager could speak to Mr. Lutenberger's comments, especially on the road stuff.
No, go ahead. That's what I was going to tell you to do too, so we're good.
So there are a couple of recent, I think, news releases about both topics: College Ave remaining closed and Lakeshore Boulevard project. And if you're okay, I will kick it over to some city staff that has a little bit more expertise. But I do want to say that College Ave will be remaining closed. It was in pretty rough shape before demolition started, and I can only imagine that it's remained as in rough shape right now after demolition. So that will be remaining closed, and I do believe that there's going to be a traffic study that is going to be done this year to evaluate some of the traffic patterns and the flow, and determining what future developments would need to look like there for road reconstruction or changes with traffic patterns. Did I get that a little bit correct? And if you don't mind, I'll kick it over to both Dennis and Sean over there, who have more information on both of those topics. College Ave first, if you don't mind.
Yep, I don't have too much more to add on College Avenue. We were planning on rebuilding it several years before the Enemy Foundation started their project to demolish it. The condition has only deteriorated from there. There are a lot of heavy trucks going over it pretty frequently. In addition, the sidewalks are pretty destroyed too. We did not require those to be reconstructed, as we are waiting to see what the final plans for the entire site will be, so we can best reconstruct the road to accommodate that large development. I would just look to the future of, what those plans are going to be, and we will probably do something accordingly.
On the Lakeshore Boulevard, I do believe we're looking at a target date of fall for completion.
That's correct. Lakeshore Boulevard, as you know, is, if you've gone down there and watched it, it's a pretty big project. It's actually kind of cool to watch. And just as a side note, because I never drift, the rocks that were placed last year are already rounded. So everything's kind of fallen into place like it should from the waves. And we'll pull a couple when we do the Eagle director comes to visit. We'll have a couple that people can look at. But yeah, it's progressing very well down there. And it looks to be completed by this fall. We have an October date that we'd like to have that finished.
So I'm really sorry, you and your pups are going to have to walk somewhere else for the summer.
Just not the
island. Not on the island.
Did you have, I have no comment tonight. Did you have any more comments that you wanted to add tonight?
No, I'm really glad actually you had mentioned those two topics, because I was drafting up an email to send to Mr. Lutenberger on that. But I do just want to really reassure everybody that we're committed to cleaning up this process, having to deal with solid waste, and rolling out a solution that doesn't stink. So thanks for bearing with us while we take out the trash, figuratively and literally.
She's on timeout. All right.
Come see me at community office hours this Wednesday, 10 to noon, at Peter Wert Public Library. I promise you there will be no more jokes like this there. Just kidding.
Just kidding. Okay. Now, in our slightly out of order way we've changed it, this brings us to new business item number 6, attorney-client privileged memo, Krushak versus the City of Marquette. Deputy City Clerk, could you please read the background?
The city has received an attorney-client privilege memorandum from its insurance defense attorney, Gretchen L. Olson, with Knotts, McKinney, Dwahey, and Beach, PLLC, regarding the lawsuit filed by Igor Kruhak against the city. Fiscal effect, none. Recommendation, enter closed session pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268, 8H, to consider materials exempt from discussion or disclosure by state and federal statute, which exemption includes the consideration of information or records subject to the attorney-client privilege pursuant to MCL 15.243, 1G. Alternatives as determined by commission.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have a motion? Commissioner Larson.
I move that we enter into closed session pursuant to the Michigan Open Meetings Act, MCL 15.268, H, to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state or federal statute, which exemption includes the consideration of information or records subject to the attorney-client privilege pursuant to MCL 15.2431G.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Ottaway.
I like that you just gave me the eyebrows, but I'll second it, yes.
Rolled.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say yes.
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 All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 6-0. We will now take a minute to turn off the feed. I was
This,
We're back. I'm gonna wait until he comes back to tell me that Heather has it for sure. Okay. We are now back in open session. Commissioners, do we have a motion on agenda item 6? Commissioner Larson?
I move that we direct the city attorney to take the action recommended in the attorney-client privileged memo.
A second? Commissioner Ottaway?
Second.
Any discussion?
None.
All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
All opposed, please say no. Motion passes 6-0. And with that, we are adjourned at 7:02 PM.